Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello, Baik. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine. Doing good. This event is incredible. We can all see you on a big screen just in front of us. So all of your faces are just here. There's also a live audience just here. So it's just incredible to be with you in Seoul and also online from many places in the world. I can see some LUCI members also joining. I can say hello from Eindhoven and other places that we see. I want to say that this is the Urban Asian Lighting Workshop 2022, and we're having a moment together, what has been called a talk show. It's also the LUCI coffee break for this month. Those who don't know what the concept is of a LUCI coffee break, well, we started during COVID, We really needed to continue working together. We wanted to continue the links in the LUCI community. So we said every month, let's have this LUCI coffee break. We want to learn from each other, from experts on urban lighting. So let's go. I'm really happy to welcome you, Youngho Baik. You've been a LUCI supporter for many, many years, especially developing the network here in Korea. And you are the chief consultant of ECOLANT, right?
Yep.
Let me see if I have this. Wait a minute. I lost a little paper. It's there. Thank you. And you're one of the very distinguished members of the Seoul Beneficial Lighting, Good Lighting Committee. You're from Korea, of course, and you have over 25 years of experience in the lighting industry. So from many different things, including marketing to strategy, product development, business development. So I want to ask you some questions about the trends, the current trends in Asia at the moment, in urban lighting in Asia. A bit about Korea, but also about other countries, not only Korea. And also this enables us to think about the future of urban lighting in Asia. So, a few questions. Perhaps we start with one of the, I think, main questions that we see also in the LUCI networks about the light sources and LEDification in Korea, but also other differences in the development of LEDification in different Asian countries. Yeah?
Your question?
Yeah, it's my question.
Yeah. I just forget. Well, actually, this morning and afternoon, I had a class for researchers who is looking for the smart technology. It was very interesting because they have very tough questions. What is the technology of smart? What is the backbone of smart, of lighting, smart city? It was a very good session. I just came back to here because I skipped lunch. I'm still hungry. Well, I can say that a LED is, we don't talk about LED anymore in Korea because already we have a LED fully up. So based on my research, we have around a 70% a LED of Seoul City, SMG. And countrywide, we already have a 60% of LED. So it's just a normal. We don't talk about any more LEDification. So it's just a mainstream.
State of the art.
Not really at this moment. It was 5 years back.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's just a common. So we just call it conventional lamp is instead of a LED. Yeah. This is a situation of Korea. And when I moved to Asia Pacific, let's say Indonesia, let's say Thailand and the Philippines, they really try to have a LED technology. This is right on track. But the technology point of view is 10 years back, there's a big difference between technology by country. Nowadays in Asia Pacific, almost same, no difference. Korea and China and Malaysia, Bangladesh, Indonesia, almost same technology. It's just common standard already.
And do you see things like the energy price, for example? Is it changing something? In some EU countries, of course, the energy price is changing. So, of course, the business case for LED and LEDification is also changing. Is there, does that create incentives for decision making on LEDification, more energy efficiency, etc.?
Oh, yeah. This is a energy price is a pain in the neck in Korea also because of the Korean war as a COVID situation. So every day is energy price higher and higher. Even I drive my car, so let's say 1 year back, and now almost double the price. So I try to use a subtrain instead of my car. Yeah. But on view of a lighting is quite depends on a country by country. So I just prepare a copy of a slide. I don't know how to 슬라이드 한번 올려보실래요? I prepare few slide. Skip. How to skip? Skip. Yeah, everybody has a LED. No more talk about LED. How to use this one? Skip. Yeah, this is Korea situation. I skip this one. Oh yeah, this is energy price, electricity price. This I copy from a statistics.com. So Denmark is very expensive. Spain is expensive. France is behind Australia, still very expensive. Korea is very cheap, and Russia and Nigeria, Ethiopia is very cheap. But one of the lowest price countries is Korea. Is the only one country who do not have a oil. It's very interesting. Yeah, but a government may announce they're going to increase a electricity price, but not that much, I think, because Korea is driven. Economy is manufacturing. So if the government increase the energy cost, there is a direct impact to economy situation. Yeah. And the impact to the household. So they have very minimum increase. But when I see that there's because many questions I got from a municipality. Next one, this is a return of investment. This is a calculation basic. When a Denmark, they replace from conventional to LED, 1.6 years, they can pay it back. But in Korea, we have more than 5 years. So normally a municipality, they don't have quite intention of a energy price. Okay. Because they're too much low. This is a situation. So energy price is increasing is a very big situation, but on view of users, they don't care about much because still it's very cheap. Very cheap.
Okay. No. Yep. That's a good answer. And with the LEDs, of course, there comes this potential for dimming, especially. So, perhaps you could tell us about this in your experience, about dimming and especially things like deep dimming. Have you seen that in some countries, in some cities? Very, very low level lighting, because I think this is coming up. Also, in some places, is there some even urban lighting that is turning off? That's a question, because in some places in Europe we talk about this. It's a question at least.
The dimming or deep dimming or a turn off, turn on. This is very normal situation. But when it comes to landscape lighting, in midnight, 12, we turn off even so. Okay. Same. Yeah. And every city they have a 12 is as maximum to operating a landscape lighting. But in street lighting they try to have dimming, but we have many concerning point from the citizens because they thought that if they lower the light output, is impact to the safety. So this is still a concerning point between a municipality and the citizens.
Yeah. Yes, that's interesting because I guess it's really the level of acceptability of this question that's important. And do you see this changing, or how can we raise the acceptability level or the interest rate of people to this question?
Oh yeah, this is I can say that a lighting is kind of a very, very low involvement. So this is my training session for researchers. So I'll give you some questions that you may easily understanding that. So, Mark, what is your car? Do you have car?
Yeah, of course.
What is your car brand?
It's a French brand. It's Citroën.
So, okay. You have television.
In the car?
I mean in your home.
Oh, yeah. Well, kind of.
Yeah. And then your mobile phone.
Yeah, too.
Yeah. So you know the brand.
Mm.
Okay. And the question. So have you ever discussed or chat with your very friends, your family for lighting brand ever?
No, not really.
So you're the general director of LUCI, Urban Lighting.
Well, I've talked with friends about lighting, but not about brands of lighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Then next question.
Yeah.
So I know you work very hard. So do you work very hard to buy nice lighting?
Okay, I'll tell you a little secret, a bit,
Yeah.
yes, because I've just changed lighting in my house, so yes, a little bit, but it's true that perhaps it's not the case for everybody, and yeah.
This is a question I got from the many student.
Okay.
So this means nobody care about the lighting, especially public lighting. They don't care. Citizens don't care. They care if they light off in the nighttime because it's not safety. So the lighting industry is part of the lowest involvement. So nobody cares. So I mean a dimming or a smart. So people's they do not care. Yeah. I don't even myself. I don't care. Yeah. When I drive my car, I don't care. This is a concerning point: how to mitigate of energy savings, and carbon neutrality, and a smart movement. So still a many discussion between this a low involvement and the carbon neutrality. So this is your role of LUCI, I think.
Yep. No, very interesting. We also see things like, of course, Earth Hour, things like that are really worldwide movement that enable people to really connect with this idea that lighting is important. And indeed, as you point out, many light experts, say that even with light dimming, people do not see the difference. They do not call the city and say, "Hey, where's my lighting?" No, they don't really recognize. They do not engage with the issue. But we are also working in LUCI on this question. It's a very, very important and interesting question for the future of urban lighting. So I'm happy to hear that it's also a question. Good.
Yep.
Linked to that, I think I have another question linked to light pollution, because I think this is something people will reflect on, don't you think? Perhaps here, I don't know, in Seoul, in Korea, we've heard about this question quite a lot in the previous discussions. But what about other countries? Is it a question? Do people reflect on this when they see too much light, or they see this light clutter, or they see glare or trespass? About this light pollution issue in Asia in general, or in different countries?
Seoul City is a very specific case. So Director Kim mentioned that he put lots of effort to manage light pollution. Even he did a very good job to lower the color temperature from 5,000 to 3,000 in Seoul.
Okay.
But whenever you travel to Asia Pacific, let's say Philippines and Thailand and the Southeast Asia, even China, so when I discuss with them about light pollution, they say, what's the definition of light pollution? This is a first reaction or feedback from them. So and the second question is, why do you talk lighting as a pollution? This is a fundamental concept of lighting. So it's a very different terminology country by country. Just like Korea is very specific, especially Seoul City is very, very specific. But when I move to fly to the other countries, they don't care about the light pollution. Even they really want to have more light output. Flashing light, they really like that. So it's the kind of a policy or strategy of city. So, if LUCI have discussion with other countries in Asia Pacific about light pollution, you may have very difficulties because even they don't understand why do you call it pollution. But this fact is the fact. So you need to have LUCI should have some very technical report, data, scientific data. What is impact to your life? What is impact to your economy and
No, absolutely.
lifetime? But this, I can say that I never heard about light pollution in the other country in Asia Pacific. Of course, I just heard from Singapore that they care about, but the other countries, they don't care.
Okay.
Still, this is a situation.
Yeah, yeah. Very interesting. I think, as you know, perhaps, and some LUCI members are here in the room, they know also we have a light pollution working group. And I think it should be enlarged to many countries, many cities. So it's really starting, and there's a lot of discussions about this definition and these ideas about what is this phenomenon, etc. So I hope we can publish also some great, great recommendations and interesting development of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a perspective from a country by country. LUCI is based in Lyon, Europe. But when you talk with Asian people based on a European concept, they may not understand.
Of course.
Yeah. So you have to be a localized concept. So we need to develop a very localized and Asian perspective, light pollution concept. Then they may understand it. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any suggestions? Like, what word should we use to describe this?
Well, first you need to find what they need. Especially lighting is in nighttime, and then daytime we have sun. So what is used for? What they use the lighting in the nighttime? You need to find the objective and the usage cases. Then what they really want from the lighting in the nighttime. Then you need to find a situation analysis and to fit the findings. Then you're going to move to your intention to understand light pollution.
Yeah. No, that's really good. I think we can start like that. I always like this idea.
Very tough job, I think.
a lot of work. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for giving us much more work. That's okay. Okay. Another question, I think, we still got a bit of time.
Yep.
Another question is about smart lighting in general. We've discussed a lot about this already. How do you think smart lighting can help urban lighting in the future?
Actually, last 2 years we have very difficulty in the COVID situation, pandemic. So everybody stopped staying at home, so wearing masks, and then they're starting to have online communication. So I can say that technology is before COVID situation. Every COVID situation is quite different. Before that, smart lighting has very difficult to understand municipality, and technology is not that much enough. But every COVID situation is online, and the communication technology sharply increases. So the technology point of view, the smart lighting is well enough to improve, I think. So urban lighting is so while we have a COVID situation, people, they thought about a more attractive, more creative idea. And then they go outside in the nighttime, and just same to Seoul. And then we almost heading to the end of a COVID situation. That everybody go outside, and then they really want to have more attractive lighting urban lighting. That a technology should be there, so smart lighting will help more attractive, interactive, human-centered lighting, a perspective on view of urban lighting. So it was one good point of COVID situation for on view of urban lighting. So this is good for the enrichment of urban lighting. That can be done by a smart technology, I think.
And do you think that there are enough incentives from the government or from various governments? Perhaps in Korea we know this is strong, but in other countries also, to develop smart lighting around Asia. And also another question: how can smart lighting really contribute to, let's say, the smart city? Two questions.
So this is one of a sample from a Korean government. So we just call a HEE, high energy efficient equipment something. So by 2023, a government pushed this standard. So a municipality and users, they should purchase the certified HEE. So and I strongly recommend to use this one. So government just make a new smart lighting HEE certification. So actually, it's not an incentive. It's kind of a control reinforcement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But without this one, nobody want to have a smart lighting because very low energy price.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They don't have to use this one because it's already too much a low cost. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a kind of a strong intention of a Korean government. Of course, it's not a good a method because this is reinforcement.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to use this smart lighting, there's some strategy and policy just like this one. Then from the 2023 Korean government municipality, they have to use HEE certified smart lighting. Without that, it's very difficult to understand it top layers.
Okay. We will ask again about that
Yeah.
to go into detail about what it is, because I think it's very interesting. Because I've heard about some countries where there is no such certification or incentive, and so utility-driven countries especially. So in this case, it's hard to develop, smart lighting because it's not worth it, the investment in the initial idea. So it's really good to have some governmental definitions. So we'll look into that more. That's
Your sub-question is smart.
about the relation between smart lighting and smart city.
I think you already have very good answer for your book. So a city's guide to smart
Thank you.
lighting. So I really like the interoperability. My point is good. Interoperability for
Absolutely.
smart city.
Great.
So this is a key word for smart city. So when I said 2018 American newspaper, they clearly mentioned that a smart lighting should be core infrastructure of smart city development. This is a real announcement. At this moment, Korean government has really tried to use this interoperability of smart lighting. So we have some cases. This is a Korean cases. So smart city development, a smart industrial, and a smart urban regeneration, and a smart lighting upgrading. This is for a trend of a Korean government. So this is one example that happened 2 years back. Korean government put larger investment for develop this one because they mentioned that this is for a smart city, not smart lighting. So lighting is act like a core infrastructure for smart city development. So year 2023, so many agencies, R&D agencies finalized this concept. So Korea will have a smart lighting as part of a smart city technology. So it's quite a government-driven technology at this moment. So they thought that for mega trend for a smart city, but this contributor is a smart lighting.
It's fascinating to see how things change and evolve and become more and more mainstream.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is your question. Korea, the year 2013, there's the first case in Korea, smart lighting. And 2014, Seoul City has it in December, and it's very stable. And then the government pushed to use the smart lighting from 2023. So they announced many guideline, standard, and reinforcement. So end users, a municipality, they should use a smart lighting from 2023. So when I said there's a start mark, so this is when I said a gross curve, 2023 is the kind of the first year of a smart lighting in Korea. So after that, the market is sharply increased. This is already anticipated from the research.
Well, I hope we will be together again and we can analyze this with many Asian urban lighting workshop again in a few years. Like you know that LUCI is 20 years this year. Any message for LUCI? You've given us already some work. Any message for LUCI for the 20th anniversary to our colleagues and also to Asian cities that are perhaps listening?
Yeah. Actually, I starting to be in the LUCI Association from 2003, or I don't know exactly.
Okay, all right.
But at the time, a very small organization and a very experienced, many event and more professionals. So now it's 20 years. 20 years is already grown up. I think that, but still, it is a real focus on European cases. So many Asian cities, they really want to have this LUCI association work together. So I can say that a 20th anniversary for LUCI. LUCI is, yes, I thought about how to explain of 20th anniversary of LUCI is, I can say that it's a treasure house for urban lighting and Asian lighting. So when you see a Disney comics, you don't have to call open sesame. It's already open. Mm-hmm. So as a country, they should come together, come to the LUCI, then they can find a lot of treasury from the LUCI because they're full enough resources, experience, and the strategies, and the professional and the people. So this is, I just call it a treasure house. This is a 20th anniversary of LUCI.
That's great. That's wonderful. Well, it's a great testimony also for the past 20 years, but also we open the box and, spread it for the next 20 years,
Yeah, actually, indeed,
it's great.
Of course, I delivered a training session class for the people, students, and the researchers about lighting. But I can say that when you visit to the LUCI website, when you see the LUCI Hub, then you can find everything. You can get anything you want. So just joining the LUCI. You don't have to go to the reader book. It's older style. You can just access the LUCI Hub. LUCI Hub is open to everyone.
It's open to LUCI members only.
Then you should be a member of LUCI.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's great to have you with us. I think we have a few minutes for questions. Now, if you type fast, you can get a few questions in. Or if you have questions from here, any questions for Mr. Baik here or from me? I don't know if you can see the questions in the chat or in the various things. If there's no questions, it's still okay. We will be here a few minutes more or a few hours. Perhaps next year you have maturing questions. Okay, I don't see questions coming in.
Yes, so we have
there is a question.
Here, yeah,
Please.
to have the question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Indra. I'm from Madiun, Indonesia. I would like to ask about the presentation that presented by Mr. Day1 Kim and also Mr. Mi Jeong. Based on their presentation, both of them are mentioned that urban city lighting should be a regulation to make a rule about the lights, smart light. So I want to ask that any other nation that already applied for this regulation. Thank you. Am I clear or not? Or I repeat the question?
I think it would be good to repeat at least once the question. I think we got part of it, but if you repeat it once, it would be great.
Yes, thank you. I just want to ask which nation is already applied for the regulation of urban lighting? Thank you. Am I clear? Not clear again?
Can you say specific urban lighting? You mean a regulation?
Yes, about urban lighting regulation. Does any nation already applied about the regulation of urban lighting regulation?
So which city or which nation has okay regulation? Well, this is a question that we often have in LUCI. So we do not have let's say a guidebook about all the regulations, but it's true that in the meetings this always comes up because each country has its own set of regulations, and then each city also has some, let's say, local bylaws or local laws. Here in Seoul, they have a great set of regulations. I must say, it's probably one of the cities in the world where the regulation that they do is the best. Because it's very clear. I think it's there for many years. You have a lot of experience on how to deliver the regulation for lighting. So it's a source of inspiration in Korea, as Director Kim pointed out earlier. It's a source of inspiration also for a lot of countries and cities in Asia. So first, I would have a look at Seoul and perhaps other cities in Korea. But I know there are other countries in the world where this is a question. It also depends on the governance, I would say, of the city. Who can have regulation powers? Perhaps some cities don't have regulation powers over lighting. I mean, lighting is something strange. It's not a full easy to regulate. Some private owners might do lighting, and if it's not regulated, they can do many different things. And the public authority may not have the power to regulate private light. In some countries, I have seen it's very hard to do that. So there's also good guidance that you can find from, let's say, CIE, for example, where you have norms and guidelines. CIE is the International Exchange Committee on lighting. So, Baik, if you have some other...
Yeah, you mentioned a regulation, but I can say a guideline because Seoul City, they don't have a regulation. They have very technology, very specific, very logical guidance book. So, of course, Seoul City is, from my personal opinion, Seoul City has #1 city in the world because they spent, let's say, 20 years already for make us a guideline, very specific, point by point. But the other cities is, of course, they're starting to have a guideline or regulation. So I just recommend that you better to communication with the Seoul City. That you may have very good sources, experience from the Seoul City of a urban lighting, a guided book or policy and strategy.
Yep. Yeah, I would also add, of course, that many cities are developing strategies and master plans of urban lighting. So it's true, in the LUCI network, it's often something we talk about. But in terms of regulations, and I think the guidelines are very strict, here I think in Seoul, it's really, really great, as you just said.
And any questions?
Any other question? No? Okay, well, it was great to be with you. Thank you so much, Baik. It was wonderful to be with you. And, well, we'll hand over to the rest of the conference. Thank you so much. Thank you.